You ever just wake up in the morning, spend 2 minutes with your girl, then step outside and just feel? Yeah, me neither. But neither does Mark Grayson, who after a chaotic run in season 3 where he was getting absolutely tormented, is up in space looking real depressed. Yeah, go ahead and get used to that. I don't know if bro smiled in any of these episodes, I'm not gonna lie. And that's saying something, because look at his girl.
She's so fine, she done pissing me off. How are you that fine?
You wouldn't be able to stop me from smiling. But anyway, villains are still bullying the city, Debbie's still bad, and Oliver is still just a sweet and loving kid who would never hurt a fly. Yup, same old Chicago. It's almost like he never left. But after a long day at work, guess who's back home? Depressed. And having PTSD. It's so bad, in fact, he tells Oliver to go handle that thug furnace. And that's how you know it's bad. Because do y'all remember the last time we saw Oliver fight for real? Buddy, I would have retired on the spot. Conquest about turned Lil Bro into a Kit Kat. And at that point in time, Mark hated Oliver being in the field. But now he is so tired of putting the city on his back, he's trying to force the little nigga to work. But the thing is, even Oliver don't want to work for real. Buddy has had a job for 2 months and he already over it. Them unemployment checks calling his name. But meanwhile, we see Cecil asking the other heroes to join the Guardians again. But after bro tried to melt Mark's brain last season, they are not trying to work with this fat, four-headed thug. Nope. Except, as y'all would definitely find out, talk no jutsu in this show never fails. And so they fold. But Rudy, yes, Rudy, you are not Rex, tries to convince Cecil to let him be the leader again. But Unc puts his hand on his shoulder and is like, nah, little guy. Ain't no way I'm letting the leader be a test tube bot again. Enjoy the bench, buddy. As back in the city, we see Invincible respond to a call, but ain't nobody call his name. Just for us to realize it was a trap by some freaky ghost who starts whispering and yapping in his ear. Pretty much going on a Thanos type rant, saying the planet is too populated and thanking Mark for packing a lot of people up. But since he knows Mark won't let it stay that way, the mysterious ghost thinks he's gonna mess it up again. So he gotta end him, rocking bro with the uppercut, sending him bouncing to the ground. As we see a damn dinosaur standing over him with a rock, trying to reverse roles. But Mark dodges and the dino lunges at him, getting weaved, but still grabbing his foot and yeeting bro into a rock. All while going on a whole soliloquy about how every life they save on Earth today is 10 lives lost in the future. What is Blood yapping about? But he pounces for a bite, getting caught, blowing all that hot ass straight meat diet breath back in Mark's face, making him kick it back. And now we actually get a good look at this fat-headed ass Hulk dinosaur. And all I gotta say is, Mark better than me. I would have been left and let Cecil or Oliver handle this. I do not got time. But since he didn't, it comes charging back in, missing a swipe, then a 360 tail sweep as Mark jumped away, just to still get scratched in midair, before finally deciding to fight back and rocking it with the right, resetting his whole brain. Cause now Blood started walking up yapping like he not in the middle of a fight that he started. But he says that he picked to attack him now for a reason, before he rushes in, body Mark's cyborg arm and eating 2 lefts before shattering said arm, just to reveal Mark's hand as good as new, letting him take the rest off and square back up. And I want to get hyped so bad, but then I remind myself, this is Mark Grayson, man, aka Super Invincible, so I can't get too ahead of myself. Until they both charge in and Mark smacks him. Then weave, block, spin move, rocking his ass. Just to get 360 smacked with the tail, sending him flying across the city. Then booming and bouncing all the way down the street. Before he then looks up to see bro already done reloaded a boulder that he yeets down, giving Mark no choice but to shatter it to pieces. But by the time the dust settles, he looks around to see bro is gone. A T-Rex who started the fight is throwing rocks and ducking? That would be crazy. Good thing though, he comes flying down, booming onto Mark just to eat a kick to the gut, sending him flying and bouncing right in the track position, ready to come back for more like he got a fetish for getting his ass beat or something. But he runs in, Mark cocks back, and then connects with the right directly on his forehead. booming that thug all the way back down the street. And this time, he not waiting, as Mark comes following up just to see a random looking straight terrified seeing Mark uphold. And not taking no chances, Mark starts choking the naked man up against the rock. There surely could have been a better way to handle this. Until the random starts to tell us he got this Yuji Sukuna type relationship with the dinosaur, because it randomly takes over and just starts slamming people out. And after 3 seasons of torture, Mark is sick of this junk, tightening his grip around bro Nick, about to pop that thing smooth off. Except the Guardians pull up and seemingly save that broke nigga life. And so after this, Mark goes to see his fine shit and I don't blame him. Except, once again, he's depressed. Eve, I had a weird day. Nigga, shut up! Like, he's such a confusing character, bro. 2 seconds ago, he was about to eliminate a man. Now he looking like he finna cry about it to his girl. Like, buddy, put the costume up and go to therapy. You are not mentally stable. And it gets worse because now he's at a family dinner with Eve's racist ass daddy. You know, the man who despises heroes and shamed his own daughter for being one. Yeah, that guy. And even though Mark could one-shot Tubbs here to space, I'm just glaring at bro with nothing but hate and malice in those eyes. And from this angle, bro kinda look like a bald queso. But anyway, it's coincidentally brought up how Mr. Wilkins here lost his job because the furniture office he worked for got destroyed in the Chicago incident. So yeah, this hate might be warranted. Actually, nigga, get out my house. But he doesn't kick him out and actually invites him outside to smoke, just for him to insinuate that if he actually does care about Eve, then he should leave her alone. And I'm sorry, Baldy, but no can do. Have you seen your daughter? And funnily enough, back inside, Miss Wilkins is insinuating that her husband is trash. Pretty much saying he a calm little provider and all, but everything else, trash. His etiquette, trash. His weight, trash. His height, trash. In the bedroom, super trash. So it sounds like he needs to stop worrying about his grown adult daughter and, I don't know, please your wife. And now Mark comes back inside, gives Eve a lore drop on Dinosaur Man, and then hits it with a good old, can we talk about this later? Even though he's the one who came into the house looking like he finna cry, but whatever, bro. So being the nice girlfriend that she is, Eve makes him a coffee that is garbaggio, but it even dissolves away. Interesting. And speaking of, off in the sewers, we see some construction workers getting jumped by Sequids. So you know, that's always fun. And since this show can't help but have 16 subplots happening at once, guess what happens next? This She-Hulk Thor hybrid comes spawning again out of nowhere, who starts sucking up all the power and goes off to find even more. But surely, she means no harm. So instead, let's go back to the Graysons, where Debbie's trying to convince Paul to go another round. But being a better man than me, he wrongfully declines. Just to go downstairs, where Oliver tells him that him and Debbie almost make as much noise as Mark and Eve. And honestly, I don't know how to feel about this. But if I was Paul, I'd go upstairs and prove a point. But he ain't got no dog in him for real. And ironically enough, in comes Eve. So they really could have went band for real. But she tells Mark that someone is attacking a power station. And I wonder who that could be. So while they go there, we go back to the city where we see the Sequids come busting out the sewers and everywhere too. And ain't no way they can handle all that. But over at the power plant, we see Universa sucking these people dry, taking all the power, blacking out about the entire East Coast. And right as Mark and Eve come flying in, and without asking questions, Mark pulls up, smacking her ass, sending her soaring into the wall and plopping to the ground. But she ain't done yet, coming rising up for the face-off. Before, of course, another sob story, where she says her people are dying without this energy. But being an intellectual, Mark is like, well, you're killing our people to get it, so this don't even make sense, lady. And now look at her, looking stupid. He done clocked your tea, huh, sis? But she just blasted him and about put bro right to sleep, meaning Eve gotta save the day once again. And just like the coffee, her weapon dissolves away, along with everything else she makes. So she's cooked as Universa charges up the finisher. But since she's done for, we go back to the city to see a dome being set around the perimeter to not let any of the Sequids escape. And we also see the Guardians are equipped with neuro disruptors to disarm the Sequids, along with teleportation darts, one of the greatest pieces of technology I've ever heard of. I could just imagine. But back at the power plant, Eve is left with no other choice but talk no jutsu. But since Universe is a woman, that shit don't work. But this time, Mark comes through blocking the attack, just tanking it, even after getting cooked last time, before going flying towards her, grabbing her staff and kicking her green ass away. Probably way easier than it should have been, meaning it was probably a bad idea, because now he's getting cooked and sent back to the ground because his kind can't touch the staff of leadership. But luckily, Eve ain't that dumb, as she just rocks this lady and puts her right to sleep. Because apparently, if she's not touching the staff, she's trash. If you're Eve with no powers level, buddy, find a new career. Now on the other hand, if Eve is just stronger than Mark, then rename the show. And then you can cast me, a real one, as the love interest. But anyway, since that's done, that means Mark can go do more work, as Cecil pops up telling him to go handle the Sequids. And back over there, we see Rudy going to the sewers to find more hosts, just to get his ass slept. But luckily, he wakes up, saves 2 NPCs, then dips out of there. But back at the city, we see Mark going crazy, but he doesn't have a disruptor, so he really just fighting them for the love of the game. And in typical Mark fashion, he still ends up getting boomed and pressed against the dome. But the thing is, the dome right now is only at 4% integrity, so they're running out of time. Because if the Sequids get out, then the world is cooked, meaning he got no choice but to lock in, busting out of there and going blasting through and grabbing Russ by the throats. And with the dome now only at 1% and Bulletproof still not here with the disruptor, Mark chooses to blow his shit smooth off, not taking no chances this time, leaving the Guardian shook as Mark just stands there. He might be turning into his dad right before our very eyes. And honestly, I'm not mad at it, cause low-key, he kinda did the same thing to Angstrom. Ain't no way he should have survived, but we gonna leave that there. Cause in summary, that means he's like 3 for 3 this episode, and that's a career high. Dinosaur Man got cooked, Universa got cooked, and the Sequids are finally dealt with. I would consider this a success. The only thing that could really make this work was like if, I don't know, Conquest came back or something, but that would never. But speaking of Viltromites, we start episode 2 on Viltrum, where an asteroid that's actually just not an asteroid goes landing on the planet and starts releasing this mysterious green gas. Finna have it smelling like you over here. But meanwhile, we see a young Nolan being a teacher, and his students glazing this statue of their former emperor, who got slimed out by the betrayer, which was followed by a purge that also slimed millions of other filthy Viltrumites, you know, normal Viltrum behavior. But after he threatens to kill this little girl for no reason, class is over. So he tells them to lock in because tomorrow at least 2 of them will be joining said emperor. So they should probably bring a weapon. But too bad for him, he don't got one himself. Because across from him is another Viltrumite who does not look too happy. And looking at him, all these niggas really do look the same, huh? Tell me that's not Omni Man. It's almost like that's his father. But it's not just him, because in booms an old lady who also looks pissed. And without a word, they blitz in. Weave, block, eat that. Oh shit, block, my turn, block, parry, gut check. As Unc got a mean uppercut cocked and loaded like a shotgun. But instead, just weaves, taking it easy on lil' bro, before just catching his punch and then blasting him with his. Setting up the law for Auntie to pull up, get parried, then weave, got her out here dancing. Before we see her load up that backhand like he been talking back, and then slice that chest before palming his face and feeding him a knee right in between them eyes too. He finna be seeing straight black for a month. And right as he backs up thinking he's safe, he gets grabbed up by Unc and put in a headlock in front of the us. Super ailments. But this is when we find out that this is his mom. Yeah, this is one of the worst races of all time. Moms are supposed to be kind and caring, and they over here trying to murk you just to see if you weak or not. This is how Itachi gaslighted Sasuke to get strong. Like, bro, I just wanted to play catch. but he uppercuts Unc, then kicks his mom out the frame, and then shoulder checks Mustache into a weave, mean right, then an elbow to your back. Enjoy scoliosis, buddy, as the mom flies in and rocks them goods. Got bro airborne, leaking crazy. Mom, chill! Like really, this is all for fun. But just imagine what would happen if you forgot to take out the trash. And it seems like they finna answer my question because they just start jumping this nigga. I'm talking elite chemistry. This is not their first time, as they just barrage him with punches before Unc feeds this nigga a headbutt, got him splattering everywhere looking like Miss Nasty, sending him stumbling back, fighting for his life. But having not an ounce of mercy, his mom rushes in getting blocked, opening him up for a back-to-back-to-back three-piece combo like a KFC special before putting both hands around his throat. But with that Viltromite battle IQ, he stomps down and sprays her with dirt, even stabbing that eye of hers as a get back for that knee earlier. As now he runs in punching her and following up just for his pops to be like, don't worry son, I got this. Smacking her ass out the way like we back in the 1950s. So instead, Nolan grabs him before pushing him back and weave, then stabbing straight through his hand. And even grabbing him by the throat. Oh, how the tables have turned face at. And his freaky ass dad is like, nice. But Nolan is so locked in on Unc, he doesn't even notice his mom flying up, palming him through the ground and laying him out back first on the stairs. Cooked. And it seems to be over. But nah, the worst mom of all time ain't done yet. Stomping this nigga's face, and not just once, not twice, but 3 times. Before having the idea to use hands too. As she starts spamming bro, I'm talking beating his absolute ass. Got him reaching up for mercy and everything. Mom, please. But he must have been the baddest kid ever because she keeps going, not stopping for nothing. I don't even know how this man's still alive, let alone conscious. But she picks him up and cocks back for one more blow. That's gets caught by his dad. As she storms off saying she hopes to never see either one of them again. Yeah, most definitely the worst mom of all time. But since he's an adult now, it's time to get his first mission. But mid-speech, Brody over here started tweaking, throwing up ketchup and even passing out. But it ain't just him, cause Shawty over here leaking from her eyes. Oh hell no. Not only are they psychos, but they demons too? Boy, I would've left this planet so fast. But luckily, he not gonna need to, because turns out about damn the entire race is cooked. And by what exactly? A contagious virus spread by the asteroid from earlier that they call the Scourge virus, that we even see done caught Nolan. Oh man, I sure wonder if he's gonna make it. But what's really crazy is the unholy amount of bodies just piled up outside, all because of the Scourge, leading to some dark times on Viltrum. And with so many bodies, they have to just dump them off in space. And this is where we see a recovered Nolan who has to dump his own father into the void. Golly, I just know once we find out who did this, ain't no way Nolan lets him live. As we go on to find out that billions on billions of Viltrumites have been wiped out, spreading the population so thin that any future kids will be inbred. So pretty much, these niggas are beyond cooked. Also, look at this tough ass Saturn ring they got around their planet. Would it surprise you if I told you that it's made out of the bodies of their fallen brethren? Well, anywho, that's the Nolan and Viltrum backstory, along with him being told to check different planets so he can pump and dump. And now, we're back at Telestria, and Telia is happy to see Alan. And I'm not gonna lie, Jack, but now they go to Thetis and give him the lore drop before deciding they have to go out and get some weapons. But shh, it has to be a secret because there's a spy among them. Who do you think it is? Anyway though, they get to a ship, Alan and Telia get a quick round in, then him and Nolan are off to get the Infinity Ray from someone he apparently buried alive under 8,000 tons of rock. Damn. Sounds simple enough. But unfortunately, it was too simple, because Space Racer is here already blicked up, blasting the Infinity Ray, and goddamn, he for sure pack-a-punched this shit. I would've had to murk this man. But they end up chasing bro around, getting their ankles broke beyond belief like it's a Kyrie ISO. And then even without the ray, he boxing up both Nolan and Alan with no problems. So since they're getting cooked so bad, they just end up resorting to what else than talk no jutsu. where after an apology from Nolan, Alan convinces him to go to Telestria and possibly join their squad. So now, round 2 for Alan and Telia, and we're on the next planet for these disgusting fat green beetles that apparently have a compound in their cells that makes Viltromites weak that they're gonna use to put in darts. Meaning, it's time for round 3 and now planet 3. On a planet full of skeletons and sand that got packed up due to having no water. Oh, you asked how they ran out of water exactly? Oh, that's because the Viltromites moved their planet closer to the sun so that it would all evaporate. Yeah. So even though this planet wasn't a success, Alan still celebrates with round 4. And up next, they're immediately at gunpoint, meaning that Alan has to cook up that taught no jutsu once again. And another apology from Nolan later, they're getting info about a warrior from Earth that they call Tech Jacket that they could get help from. Meaning round 5 and now planet 5. And this is the home of none other than Battle Beast, so that they can ask that monstrous thug for help. But they don't even know where he is. So there's only one thing left to do. Round 6. Oh, and 7. But turns out that this whole time, instead of hearing Cheeks get beat all night, there was a whole nother room Nolan could have slept in. But this pinhead thought they were polygamous, just having threesomes every night. Freaked out at Nick. But finally, time for the next planet, where they're after these things called Ragnars. Creatures that packed up everyone besides Nolan the last time he came. So since they couldn't handle all that, they instead had the idea to just cover up the sun and freeze him instead. And also, the planet has super gravity, meaning that for the Ragnar's whole life, they just naturally be getting Goku type training. So it might get a little ugly. Shout out to Oliver's mom. No, I will not be hearing you out. But in order to find the Ragnars, they had to move the disc blocking the sun to freeze the ice a little bit. But instead, Pinhead chooses to blast these sperm missiles and blow it up, meaning the Ragnars start to bust out the ice. And also, it's like dozens of them too, so yeah, GG's. And knowing they're cooked, Nolan just like, alright, we out. And they just get grabbed out the air like it's a football, therefore leading to them getting jumped. But eventually, they both end up jumping away again, and this time, just Nolan gets caught and drugged all the way back down, just telling Alan to leave him like the good guy that he is. But Alan is such a goat that he pulls up anyway and forms a dynamic duo. Except unfortunately, there's even more Ragnars breaking out. And when I say they start frying these dudes, they start absolutely cooking them. But luckily, after all them rounds, Telia loves her man a little extra. And so, she gets the ship and blocks the sun, freezing the Ragnars again, and this time finally letting them both escape. But after all these life or death situations and realizing what he's really doing right now, Omni Man starts to question if he really wants to help get rid of the other Viltromites. But luckily, Alan is like the greatest taught no jutsuer of all time, so we don't even gotta worry about that. Instead, we go back to Telestria and relay all the info to Thetis. And I might be tripping, I don't know, but I swear bro sound like an old Optimus Prime. Now I'm not gonna look it up because I don't feel like it, but I might just start calling him that. But anyway, he knows this little squad they forming right now is hot ass and is not finna be enough, making him try to turn into a military recruiter at a high school, trying to convince Nolan to join them, along with Mark. But Mustache Man reiterates that will not happen, leading Thetis to be like, alright, come to the back right quick, let me show you something. And that on top of him being a Viltromite, I would have already accepted my fate. I am not going back there. But turns out, all he wants to tell him is that he's the one who made the Scourge virus, planted it on Viltrum, murdered billions of people, and almost wiped out their entire kind from existence, immediately making Nolan put the betrayer in that Mark position. But since he's changed into a sweet and innocent man, no punches get thrown, and instead, he even says he'll go get Mark. So really, this plan worked out perfectly. It didn't backfire at all. But meanwhile, speaking of Viltrum, we see Conquest made it back. And just look at his face. all sad and shit like he finna cry. Nigga, man up. You was talking so reckless the last time we saw you. And so after seeing how much of a bitch he is, he gets pimp slapped and put on his knees. And then 30 seconds later, he's asking this nigga Thrag to kill him. Like, I swear I'll never understand the loyalty of these characters, bro. You just barely escape death, just to then break out of Cecil's dumbass prison thing, by the way, where he just seemingly forgot about the little earpieces that, you know, stop Viltromites, all just to come back home and ask to die? Nigga, you shouldn't have came back then. But unfortunately, even then, Thrag says no, because he isn't worthy of death. As the cameraman starts to pan up on Thrag, and sheesh, that cloak is tough. And he got some waves up there too. That boy clean. I just know he finna be a problem. But I'm not worried. You wanna know why? Cause we got